1,591. And we are burning the midnight oil. It's been just a crazy day getting back to after the holiday, right after the holiday. So a lot of information coming out, but I want to start over. Let's make sure that I'm live, and I'll probably have to go live again because of the shadow banning. Okay, I can see. All right. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for joining and watching, and please share. It's very important. And if you are with Trump groups, okay, anything with President Trump groups that are pro President Trump, please share this information. It's really, really important. Because we are getting so much information about the intentions of the Trump administration for real. And I think that the appointment of Kash Patel to take over Christopher Wray's position as the director of the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, is absolutely jaw-dropping happiness here. Not because um, we put all our hope into Kash Patel, but for that change of administration and for the position that Kash Patel has expressed over these years and the loyalty that he has showed to Trump and MAGA, Make America Great Again. We are absolutely celebrating his appointment to give him a chance to, to prove what he has been saying. He went as far to say that he was going to close down the Hoover building and send, like, I think 700 agents are, sitting in that building, and say, get out there and fight crime. Get out there and fight crime. No longer, you know, you can be in the Hoover building there in Washington, D.C. You have to go across the country and fight crime. That is really amazing. I think that everyone in the Hoover building, and look, when my dad was sick, I went through, we met an FBI. Anyway, um, and there are so many that really want to fight the crime. And the system was just weaponized and gummed up by the weaponization and the insane policies of the Biden administration. And so we are so happy because for 4 years, they have wanted to put Richard into cold case. They have wanted to get rid of us, and we have survived that. Do you know what a big deal that is? That is such a big deal. You would not believe the what we've had to go through to keep our son's case active, with active and ongoing investigations. And people that watch this day in and day out, or might just happen across this and watch me say, well, there's ongoing active investigations. Oh, yeah, okay, whatever, lady. No, there are active and ongoing investigations. We did that. Team Find Richard Halliday has did that. And that is so important because that has kept our son's code red murder case, disappearance, the retaliation, the disappearance, the murder case, the cover up, the subsequent cover up, the manipulation of the narrative about our son. That has kept all of that active and ongoing. that is just amazing to get through this kind of gummed up administration, weaponized justice system, weaponized intelligence agencies, and it just weaponized um, law enforcement, and also weaponized media. And I can go on and on. So for our son's case to be active and ongoing, with CID Todd Howell being dirty, with CID um, um, Marlon Soto being dirty, CID Tavita Nusa being a prime suspect in the murder case of our son. This is absolutely um, a very, very good day to see Kash Patel be appointed by, be nominated. I guess nominated is the right word, by President Trump for director of the FBI. We're very, very, very happy about that because we have done the work to keep it open and active. And now for an investigative bureau, the Federal Investigative Bureau, to see what's going on at the border there in El Paso. And you have to understand all the wonderful people in El Paso, and you know how we feel about El Paso. We love El Paso. We love St. Clement's in El Paso. We love White Sands in El Paso. I went to school in El Paso. I was born in um, White Sands. I swam in the replica under Coach Johnson. CJ loved that man. Got fed little gummy bears from him for swimming some good laps. Just amazing memories. I was confirmed there at the replica chapel, the old replica chapel on Fort Bliss. That's where I was confirmed in the Christian faith. Um, Went over to the border, many, many times, many, many, many times in my life. I just absolutely love that area. Love the mountains. Love the Franklin Mountains. Um, you know, so, but El Paso has a major problem. It has been captured, and it has been captured by those that are absolutely a bastion of anti-Trumpers. And I'm thinking about doing some kind of meme with that because I thought that was just a good picture of it. They absolutely do not like President Trump. Those that have captured, that have El Paso in their grip, have profited immensely off of the illegal criminal trafficking and even legal um s- uh, unfair trade at the border. Okay, absolutely, they have profited um hugely. Hugely. So yeah, so this has been, that's why it explains that the Walmart mass shooting was first and foremost a cover up of Richard's whistleblowing reports. Okay, that's it. It was a diversion for that, and then next it was to target President Trump and the uh, MAGA, right? And all the MAGA individuals, calling them, labeling them white supremacists, racists, everything, which is false. That's all a false labeling, a false narrative, and the media that is controlled there by those that have a grip on El Paso is, part of this false narrative orchestration. And they did that with Richard, with the false orchestration. So it is, Lord, hear our prayers. Thank you so much. Absolutely. So to keep this case open and active has been our intention, to get through this capturing of our Department of Justice, of our intelligence agencies, of our military. Our military was held captive. And, until they fire a bunch of generals, our military is held captive. And they were up to no good, and they're criminal. They're absolutely criminal. So not only the military, but our justice system and our law enforcement system and our intelligence agencies, were all in this grip of insanity for these over 4 years. And thanks be to God, Trump won that election. Whether, he's perfect or not or whatever, it is a change of administration. Of course, our family, and I believe that that is part of the hate crime against Richard, is that we have always been Trump supporters, that we've always been, uh, avowed Christians, um, faithful Christians, and also MAGA, and also Trump supporters. From the minute he came down that escalator and said, I'm going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it, because we looked up his financials and we were like, oh my gosh, we've got to give this man a chance, because he just put his neck on the line by saying that, because he outed. And I think there's more to it, than what we even knew then, but he just exposed the deficit that we had with Mexico. But I think there's more to it. And now he is, really, the war, the battle, I should say, the battle is for the El Paso Juarez border. Okay. The US Mexico border at El Paso and Juarez, Mexico. That's the biggest battle. I really believe that, because look, just the fentanyl, just the narcotics trafficking is $90 billion a year. Okay. It is huge. It is so much money. And we're not even getting into all the legal trades at the border, and the criminal, trafficking is all kinds of stuff, from the human trafficking to the child trafficking to the child, corn, to the organ trafficking, to the weapons trafficking, to the equipment trafficking, to the um, ammunition trafficking, of course, the narcotics trafficking. It is loads of money, and so many things that I don't even know about. Um, and so this, Richard pulled on a string. He reported. He reported, high-ranking individuals, because of the retaliation that he received from that was very, very severe, very severe. And I would tell you that Glennon Oakley Jr. also received very severe retaliation very quickly. And how can this happen? This has to happen by, operations, maybe DEA operations. Um, if the Department of Justice, was, you know, um, in the grips of criminals, um, that wanted to weaponize, if the intelligence agencies are in the grips, that would include, the DEA, that would include the CIA. And, we have evidence that those, involved in the Walmart mass shooting, mass shooting case and Richard's case um, are very connected to the CIA, the FBI, and the DEA. And they had access, and the CID, we know that with Tavita Nusa and Leilani Hart, and they had access. They had access even through the VA, we believe, and to files, and they had access to information, and we have the proof that they had this access, and only those that had access would know that information. And they used that information as weapons against us, to harass us, to threaten us, to bully us, and more. They absolutely are part of the intelligence community, the law enforcement community, and also was involved in the Walmart mass shooting case. And so this border is, because they put so many resources, I believe millions of dollars they spent in trying to stop Richard's information, his story from coming out, especially since 2022, early January of 2022. And before then, it was kind of fluffy pieces and misinformation, false, like they would kind of tell the truth, but they would twist it. They're masters at twisting the narratives to suit their needs, to take deflection off of those that have abused their power and are engaged in criminal activity when they are in powers in positions of authority, right? They're masters at manipulating. And of course, with Richard's case being code red murdered on Fort Bliss, um, and being a whistleblower, and then those involved being connected to the Walmart mass shooting case, and also a common denominator of being Mormon, and having um, uh, Romney um, have this big presence throughout that area, and being so avarice towards President Trump. Um, y- put some pieces together of the puzzle, right? And being connected to Cheney and those in power that have an avarice for Trump, that have El Paso in the grip of their claw. Um, they are absolutely connected to these military contracts, and also uh, having this open border is very, very important for their business model. So that is why we decided today to post the letter that we have sent before Thanksgiving to different agencies, including the CIA and the DEA, um, to give them suspects' names of who we believe are involved in CIA and DEA, just a handful of them. There's more. We have more, but we thought we'd start with this list, that they were, engaged in operations. Well, we have suspicion that they are, good suspicion at that, that they are involved in uh, illegal operations, because the CIA is not allowed to operate in the United States. And remember, this has been going on for quite some time, and it started with our casualty affairs officer, Joshua Lyons, who was asymmetric warfare officer, and then um, assigned to us as a casualty affairs officer, and catching him in activities, um, online activities, working against us. And catching him doing that, um, wow, what a, um, I always called him no new news. I mean, our very first meeting wasn't, um, red flags already had gone up because anybody that is your casualty affairs officer and says, oh, we have no new news, is not on your side. Okay. Is not on your side. They have very, very bad training, very bad training. So, but he had put up a couple pictures and we took those pictures and we've ran those pictures and they ended up in very exposing some very interesting people. And and I called it asymmetric warfare tactics, right? Asymmetric warfare tactics. And because everything that was happening during that time seemed like some kind of intelligence operation for us. It did not seem like they were concerned about trying to find Richard. It absolutely was a cover up in our estimation, or that's what it felt like. It felt like a big cover up. And now we know that they had Richard's remains. They had Richard's remains, that he was code red murdered on Fort Bliss. That's, was revealed to us officially on the 24th of April of 2024. And they knew all along. And they absolutely knew all along. And, and even we have, people on recordings, and even director of emergency services for Fort Bliss, Thomas Kane, confirmed that they knew that Richard was dead very early on. And but they just didn't want another Guillen situation. They didn't want another Vanessa Guillen situation. They were trying to protect their jobs and they want a cushy jobs because if you don't want to solve these crimes and hold people accountable, then what are you doing, right? Then what are you doing? Are you just sitting in the Hoover building, right? Um, so we're very happy that Kash Patel is, you know, on the horizon, on the horizon. And we really appreciate your um, coming on here, your patience, and you sharing. And, please leave some comments about the letter that we just posted on Facebook. And yes, all the things that are on TikTok, I have to go look to see if we've been reinstated. But no, they threw us off TikTok because the operatives, and we know who they are, were reporting us with misinformation. And, we have the right to search for our son. And we really have the right as an American citizen to get answers for our um, murdered soldiers on our own military base. We have the right for that. And, this. This is really good news, but not for the likes of Major General James Eisenhower, who we have just put in information, criminal complaint. I guess call it a criminal. Yeah, it's a criminal complaint against Major General James Eisenhower. He absolutely needs to be held accountable for what he did for ordering a renovation of the crime scene of Richard, our son, without any expense and not following normal protocols for bids or anything like that. Just saying, just get it done, get it done. So that's on audio recording, and you know, um, I hope he also I don't know how all that works with the military, but I absolutely hope that Kash Patel of the FBI holds Major General Eisenhower accountable for what he has done, and also for Sean Bernabe lying to our face, for Donna Martin lying to our face, for General McConville and General Garrett. I think it's very important that these generals be held accountable. Of course, General Mealy needs to be held accountable for what he has done. And then, of course, we have the other side. We have the civilian side, which is Joe Spencer. And Joe Spencer absolutely has failed to do what he's supposed to do. Um, and more information is coming out about that. And I think maybe I'll release that letter also. I'm going to redact it. And I think it's very important that at this time the public knows exactly what we're doing behind the scenes, because this is your country, this is your military, this is your, for the most part, a lot of people that live in El Paso, this is your community. And you need to know that we are absolutely fighting for you, and we need as many as we can get in. Find Richard Halliday to share this information. That's their worst nightmare, is that this information gets out and people say, "What? They have not gotten Richard's remains and he was murdered on Fort Bliss? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" See, we need more people doing that. Um, and knowing that Richard is their soldier, is their distinguished honor graduate soldier. He was a distinguished honor graduate for his cycle in basic training and advanced individual training. Um, you know, wanting to be a CID agent, and they code red murdered him after retaliation for reporting on the criminal activity that was going on there on the U.S. El Paso, Fort Bliss, Juarez, Mexico border. So, thank you so much for passing on that information. And I need to talk about Leilani Hart and her son Dallas Hart before I leave. Um, just remember that Leilani Hart is a convicted criminal, long, long history of crime, and she speaks Chinese, and she notarized an affidavit that was accepted by the FBI, that she filed to the FBI, and it was accepted, and we have the number, that she came to this country, that she had illegal immigration problems, and that, and that she was also um, not reporting child abuse in a timely manner, that a long history of child abuse, really bad. And then, of course, the incest, of course, the illegal weapons purchasing, of course, and the child corn. So all of this was being reported to the FBI. It was all documented. We have the number, we have the document. And they failed. The intelligence failed. And I think Nieto, who this was all turned over to, Jesus Eddie Nieto Jr., whose wife is in the intelligence community there on Fort Bliss, he failed his job as the FBI for El Paso area with this information, with the information of Joe Spencer and all of his shenanigans, his criminal activity. And, I think that Jesus Nieto needs, needs a dose of Kash Patel, a dose of Kash Patel's leadership. Absolutely. So, thank you so much. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. And we're celebrating. We're celebrating. We're going to get to the bottom of this. And, inch by inch, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And we really appreciate